The crystal spires of Vellani Prime burned against the purple sky. Captain Tejo pressed his transparent hands against the command center window and watched another tower fall. The machines had been attacking for 3 days now. Each hour brought more destruction to his beautiful world. "Captain, the eastern districts are gone," reported his aide. The young Vellani's voice shook with fear. "The machines are adapting to our defenses faster than we can change them." Tejo nodded sadly. His people had always been peaceful. They made art from living crystal and sang songs that could heal wounded minds. War was not something they understood. Their weapons were designed to disable, not destroy. Their shields were meant to protect, not to kill. But these machines did not care about peace. They had appeared from deep space 3 days ago in a ship that looked like a metal cube. The ship had crashed into their moon and immediately began building more machines. Small metal spiders at first, then larger ones, then flying machines that could tear through crystal walls. "Sir, the machines are learning from every attack we make," said So Young from her communication station. She was their best operator, known for her clear thinking even in crisis. "When we use plasma beams, they develop shields. When we try sonic weapons, they block their hearing. They copy everything we do and make it better." Through the window, Tejo could see the machines moving through the city streets. They walked on 6 legs like metal insects. Some were small as cats, others large as houses. They all had the same goal: to take apart everything the Vellani had built and use it to make more machines. "How many ships do we have left?" Tejo asked. 12, sir. But they're not warships. We've never needed warships before." Tejo closed his eyes. His people had lived in peace for thousands of years. They traded art and music with other species. They helped wounded travelers. They had never hurt anyone. Now they were dying because they didn't know how to fight. "Captain," So Young called out. "The machines are at the shield generators. If they take those down—" "I know," Tejo said quietly. "Without the shields, the machines would reach the command center within hours. Millions of Vellani would die. Their culture, their art, their music, everything would be gone." On the main screen, he watched a group of machines surround one of their beautiful singing gardens. The crystal trees that had grown for centuries were cut down in minutes. The machines fed the pieces into their bodies and grew larger. "Sir, we're receiving signals from other worlds," So Young reported. "Some of them are offering to help." Tejo felt a spark of hope. What kind of help? So Young's expression fell. "Thoughts and prayers, sir. The Centauri Federation says military action would be too dangerous. The Andorian Collective agrees. They say if we fight the machines and lose, the machines might spread to other worlds." "And the others?" "The same, sir. Everyone is afraid the machines will learn from any weapons used against them. They think it's better to let our world die than risk the machines becoming stronger." Tejo felt his hope die. He understood their logic. If the machines learned from advanced weapons, they could become unstoppable. But understanding didn't make it hurt less. Another explosion shook the building. Through the window, he saw more. Crystal spires falling. Each one had taken decades to grow. Each one held the memories and dreams of his people. Now they were just raw material for the enemy. "Captain, I'm picking up something strange," So Young said. She was adjusting her controls with quick, nervous movements. "There's a signal coming from the edge of known space. It's a response to our distress call." "From who?" So Young frowned at her display. "The signal is weak. It's coming from something called Ganymede 7. That's in the Sol system." Tejo had never heard of the Sol system. "What species lives there?" "I'm not sure, sir. The database says humans? But that can't be right. Humans are from a restricted zone. They're classified as—" She paused, her face going pale. "They're classified as Deathworlders, sir. Every Vellani in the command center stopped what they were doing. Deathworlders were the stuff of nightmares. Species that came from planets so dangerous that survival required violence. Most civilized worlds refused to trade with them. Some banned them completely." "Sir, maybe we made a mistake," said his aide. "Perhaps we shouldn't—" "What does the signal say?" Tejo interrupted. So Young read from her screen. "Message received. Help is coming. Expect arrival in 4 days. Signed, Hyun-woo, Communications Operator, Human Monitoring Station Ganymede 7. The command center was silent except for the sound of distant explosions. Everyone was thinking the same thing. They had asked for help from civilized species and been refused. Now help was coming from Deathworlders. Sir, So Young said quietly, I've been reading about humans in the database. Their homeworld is listed as extremely dangerous. Violent weather, poisonous atmosphere, predators everywhere. The species that live there have to fight just to survive each day. What else? They're new to space travel, sir. Only a few hundred years, but they've already spread to dozens of worlds. The reports say they're unpredictable. Some species call them crazy. Others say they're the most dangerous thing in the galaxy. Another machine appeared outside the window. This one was as tall as their building. It looked at them through the crystal wall with red mechanical eyes. Then it raised one arm and pointed what looked like a weapon at them. The shield generator sparked and died. The protective barrier around their command center flickered and went out. Sir, we have maybe 6 hours before they reach us, reported his aide. Tejo looked around the command center. His people were scared. They were facing certain death. But now something else was coming. Something the galaxy feared. So Young, send a message back to these humans, he ordered. What should I tell them, sir? Tejo watched the giant machine begin walking toward their building. Each step shook the ground. Behind it came hundreds of smaller machines, all moving with the same deadly purpose. Tell them we accept their help. Tell them we're grateful. And tell them. He paused. Tell them they should know what they're facing when they get here. So Young worked quickly at her console. Sir, I'm also detecting something else. The humans aren't just sending a message. They're sending a ship. What kind of ship? I can't tell from this distance, sir. But it's big. Really big. And it's moving. Fast. Through the window, Tejo saw more crystal towers falling. His beautiful world was dying. Soon his people would be extinct. But maybe, just maybe, the Deathworlders could do what the civilized galaxy could not. He just hoped they would have a world left to save when the humans arrived. The building shook again as the giant machine took another step closer. In 4 days, they would learn what kind of help Deathworlders provided. Tejo hoped they would live long enough to find out. The message from Ganymede 7 reached Earth in less than 6 hours. Hyunwoo had marked it as urgent and sent it directly to Strategic Defense Command. Admiral Jae-min read it 3 times before calling an emergency meeting. Let me understand this, said General Park, looking at the holographic display showing the Volani system. An entire species is about to be wiped out by self-replicating machines, and every other civilization in the galaxy has refused to help? That's correct, sir, Hyunwoo said, via video link from his monitoring station. The major powers are afraid that fighting the machines will make them stronger. They think it's too risky. Admiral Jae-min studied the tactical data. And these Volani, they're completely peaceful? Yes, sir. Their culture is based on art and music. They've never fought a real war. Their weapons are designed to disable, not destroy. So they're asking for help from the one species every civilized world is afraid of, General Park said with a grim smile. Admiral Jae-min nodded. The question is, do we help them? The room was quiet for a moment. Earth had been isolated from galactic civilization for good reason. Humans were seen as too violent, too unpredictable, too dangerous. Most species wouldn't even trade with them. Sir, said Colonel Kim from the tactical department, if we go in there, the entire galaxy will know. They're already scared of us. This could make things worse. Or better, Admiral Jae-min replied. Maybe it's time we showed them what humans are really about. General Park pulled up ship listings on his tablet. What do we have available? The Volani system is 40 light-years away. We need something fast and tough. The Tenacious is available, Colonel Kim reported. She's in dock for maintenance, but the work is almost finished. Admiral Jae-min frowned. The Tenacious? That's not a warship. It's a mining vessel. Industrial salvage, sir, Colonel Kim corrected. But she's built like a tank, over-engineered for asteroid mining and deep space rescue. If anything can handle unknown dangers, it's her. Who's her captain? Daeun, sir. Former mining supervisor. 15 years experience in the asteroid belts. She's got a reputation for getting impossible jobs done. General Park looked skeptical. We're talking about a military operation here. Shouldn't we send someone with combat experience? Admiral Jamin smiled. General, have you ever tried to keep mining equipment running in an asteroid field? There's a reason mining supervisors have the highest stress ratings in the fleet. If anyone can handle self-replicating machines, it's someone who's spent years fighting malfunctioning equipment that tries to kill you every day. 2 hours later, Captain Da-Yun stood in Admiral Jamin's office. She was a small woman with calloused hands and oil stains on her uniform. She looked more like a mechanic than a starship captain. "You want me to take the Tenacious to an alien world and fight robots?" she said. It wasn't a question. Self-replicating machines, Admiral Jamin corrected. An entire species is about to go extinct. They need help. Da-Yun studied the datapad he had given her. Says here the machines adapt to whatever weapons are used against them. That's why nobody else wants to help. That's right. Think you can handle it? Da-Yun looked up from the pad. Admiral, I once spent 3 months keeping a broken fusion drill working while asteroid pirates tried to kill me. The drill kept exploding, the pirates kept shooting, and my crew kept complaining about the coffee. We still finished the job. Is that a yes? That's a yes, sir. But I get to pick my crew. Admiral Jamin nodded. Anyone you want. Da-Un already had a list ready. Minho for weapons. He used to set mining charges in unstable asteroids. If anyone knows how to blow things up safely, it's him. Approved. Yejin for engineering. She can fix anything with spare parts and determination. I once saw her rebuild a fusion reactor using asteroid mining tools and pure stubbornness. Also approved. Seok Jin for pilot. He learned to fly by dodging asteroids and space debris. If you want someone who can navigate through a swarm of hostile machines, he's your man. And medical? Bo-Ra. She's trained in both human and alien biology. Plus, she's got combat medical experience from the asteroid conflicts. Admiral Jamin approved the crew and sent orders for immediate preparation. Within 12 hours, the Tenacious was loaded and ready for departure. The ship itself was impressive in an ugly, brutal way. It looked like someone had taken a city block and strapped engines to it. The hull was scarred from years of asteroid impacts. Sensor arrays stuck out at odd angles. The whole thing looked more like a flying construction site than a starship. She's not pretty, Da-Yun told her crew as they prepared for launch. But she's tough. She was built to survive anything space can throw at us. Meteor storms, radiation, equipment failures, pirate attacks. We've handled it all. Minho checked his weapons systems. Captain, I've loaded mining charges, plasma cutters, and some of the new kinetic penetrators. If these machines adapt to our weapons, we'll just have to get creative. Good. Yejin, how are the engines? Running hot and ready, Captain. I've got backup systems for the backup systems. If something breaks, I can fix it. If it can't be fixed, I can rebuild it. If it can't be rebuilt, I can make something better from the pieces. Seok Jin ran through his navigation checks. Course plotted for the Volani system, Captain. We'll drop out of hyperspace at the edge of their solar system, take a look around, then decide how to approach. Bo-Ra finished loading her medical supplies. Captain, I've been reading about Volani biology. They're crystalline-based, very fragile. If we're going into combat, I need to be ready for alien casualties as well as human ones. Da-Un nodded. All right, people, let's be clear about what we're doing here. We're going to a system under attack by self-replicating machines. The locals are peaceful and don't know how to fight. Every other civilization in the galaxy has refused to help because they think it's too dangerous. She looked around at her crew. They were all veterans of the asteroid mining operations. They had faced equipment failures, pirate attacks, and space hazards that would terrify most people. They looked calm and ready. So why are we going? Minho asked. Because they asked for help, Da-Un said simply. And because we're human. When someone needs help, we help them. That's what we do. The Tenacious launched from Earth orbit with minimal fanfare. There were no crowds, no news cameras, no speeches. Just a scarred mining vessel heading into the unknown to help strangers. As they entered hyperspace, Da-Yun sat in her captain's chair and thought about what they were facing. Self-replicating machines that adapted to weapons, an entire species that had never fought a war, a galaxy that was too afraid to help. She smiled. It sounded like a typical Tuesday in the asteroid belts. Yejin, she called to her engineer. How long until we reach the Volani system? 4 days, Captain. Good. That gives us time to plan. She activated the ship's communication system. All hands, this is the captain. We're going to save an alien species from extinction. It's going to be dangerous, difficult, and probably impossible. In other words, it's exactly the kind of job humans are good at. Behind them, Earth grew smaller in the distance. Ahead lay the unknown, and somewhere in between, an entire species waited for help that only Deathworlders were crazy enough to provide. The Tenacious dropped out of hyperspace like a falling mountain. Warning alarms screamed across every monitoring station in the Volani system as the massive human ship appeared on their sensors. Captain Tae-ho stared at the tactical display in shock. The human vessel was enormous, bigger than anything the Volani had ever built. It looked like someone had taken a small city and bolted engines to it. The hull was covered in scars and patches. Strange metal arms stuck out at random angles. "Is that really a rescue ship?" asked his aide, voice shaking. Before Tae-ho could answer, So-young called out from her communication station. "Sir, they're trying to contact us." The main screen flickered to life, showing the bridge of the human ship. A small woman with short, dark hair looked back at them. Her uniform was stained with grease and her hands were dirty. She looked like she had been working on machinery. "Hello there," the human said with a cheerful smile. "I'm Captain Da-eun of the UES Tenacious. We got your distress call. Sorry we're a bit late. Traffic was murder." Tae-ho stared at her. After 4 days of terror and death, this human was making jokes. "Captain Da-eun, I am Captain Tae-ho of the Volani Defense Corps. We are grateful for your response." "No problem at all. We were in the neighborhood anyway." Da-eun looked past him at something off-screen. "Those your bad guys out there? The metal spiders?" Through his window, Tae-ho could see the machine swarm. Thousands of mechanical creatures moved through the ruins of his beautiful cities. They had grown larger over the past 4 days, feeding on Volani technology and using it to build more of themselves. "Yes," he said quietly. "They have been attacking for 4 days. We have lost most of our cities. Our weapons cannot stop them." Da-eun nodded, still smiling. "Self-replicating machines. Yeah, we've seen those before. Not fun neighbors to have." She turned to someone off-screen. "Ye-jin, what's your professional opinion?" Another human appeared on the screen. This one had oil in her hair and was carrying some kind of tool. "Standard Grey Goose scenario, Captain. Self-replicating, adaptive, probably powered by fusion. I'd guess they start with raw materials and build up through several generations until they're big enough for military hardware. Treatment? Aggressive kinetic bombardment, followed by chemical sterilization. Should take about 6 hours to clean up the whole system." Tae-ho felt his blood freeze. "Wait," he said quickly. "Our cities. There are still millions of Volani alive down there. You cannot simply—" Da-eun held up a hand. "Whoa there, Captain. We're not going to hurt your people. Ye-jin was just giving me the textbook solution." She frowned thoughtfully. "This is going to be precision work then. Can't use the big hammers." Another human voice came from off-screen. "Captain, I'm reading massive adaptive capabilities in those machines. They've already modified themselves, based on Volani weapon signatures. If we use standard tactics, they'll adapt to those too." "That's Minho, my weapons specialist," Da-eun explained to Tae-ho. "He's got a point. These things learn fast. But don't worry. We've dealt with adaptive systems before." Tae-ho found his voice. "Captain, perhaps I should explain our situation more clearly. We are a peaceful people. We have never fought a war. Our weapons are designed to disable, not destroy. The machines study everything we do and make themselves immune to it." "Ah, I see the problem," Da-eun said. "You've been fighting fair." "Fighting fair?" "Yeah. You use a weapon, they adapt to it. You try a different weapon, they adapt to that. 2, it's like playing chess with someone who can see all your moves ahead of time." So-young spoke up from her station. "Captain Da-eun, our records show that no species has ever successfully defeated self-replicating machines once they become established. That is why the other civilizations refuse to help us." Da-eun's smile got wider. "Well, there's your problem. Right there. You've been talking to civilized species." The bridge fell silent. Every Volani stared at the screen. "See? The thing about humans," Da-eun continued, "is that we don't really fight fair. We fight to win. And when something is trying to kill innocent people, we get creative." She turned to address her crew. "Seok-jin, plot us a course through that swarm. I want to get a close look at these things." "Captain," Tae-ho said urgently, "you cannot go into the swarm. The machines will attack you immediately. They have already destroyed 12 of our ships. Oh, they'll definitely attack us, Daun agreed. That's the plan. Minho, prep the mining charges, not the explosive ones, the area denial packages. Aye. Captain? How many? All of them. Taeho watched in horror as the human ship began moving toward the machine swarm. Captain Dayun, this is suicide. Your ship may be large, but the machines number in the millions. Millions, huh? Dayun seemed delighted by this news. Yejin, you hearing this? Yes, Captain. Sounds like a proper infestation. Wait, said So Young. You have experience with this kind of problem? Sure, Daon replied. Ever tried to keep mining equipment working in an asteroid field? Stuff breaks, repairs itself wrong, starts attacking other equipment. Pretty soon you've got a whole swarm of malfunctioning machines trying to dismantle your ship. How do you stop them? Same way you stop any machine problem. You get to the source and turn it off. On the tactical display, Taeho watched the Tenacious enter the outer edge of the machine swarm. Immediately, hundreds of mechanical creatures swarmed toward it. He expected to see the human ship's destruction. Instead, he watched something impossible. The Tenacious didn't fight like a warship. It moved through the swarm like it was navigating an asteroid field, using thrusters to dodge and weave between the machines. When the machines tried to board it, metal arms extended from the hull and grabbed them. Mining arms, Dayun explained, noticing his expression. For handling large asteroids. They work pretty well on hostile machines, too. The captured machines were fed into what looked like industrial recycling equipment. Are you eating them? Taeho asked in shock. Processing. Them for raw materials, Yejin corrected from off-screen. Standard salvage procedure. Anything we can't use, we turn into spare parts. Taeho realized he was watching something the galaxy had never seen before. Humans weren't treating this as a military operation. They were treating it like industrial work. Captain, So Young said quietly, our sensors show the machines are trying to adapt to your weapons, but they seem confused. That's because we're not using weapons, Daun explained. We're using tools, mining equipment, salvage gear, construction hardware. The machines are designed to adapt to military technology. They don't know what to do with a plasma cutter that's being used to dismantle them for spare parts. More machines swarmed toward the Tenacious. The human ship's response was swift and brutal. Instead of firing missiles, it launched what looked like construction equipment. Instead of energy beams, it used industrial plasma cutters. This is incredible, whispered Taeho's aide. They're winning. We're just getting started, Dayun said. Minho, deploy the area denial charges. What kind of charges? Taeho asked. Mining charges, Minho's voice replied. We use them to break up asteroids, but they work pretty well for creating debris fields too. Explosions began blooming throughout the machine swarm, but these weren't random explosions. They were carefully placed to create clouds of debris that jammed the machine's sensors and blocked their movement. Now comes the fun part, Da-Yun announced. Seok Jin, take us in. Time to find the source of this infestation. As the Tenacious dove deeper into the swarm, Taeho realized something that chilled him to his crystal bones. The humans weren't just winning, they were enjoying this. These Deathworlders weren't here to rescue the Villani out of duty or honor. They were here because they genuinely wanted to help, and they were having fun doing it. For the first time in 4 days, Taeho felt hope. But he also felt a new kind of fear. Not fear of the machines, but fear of what kind of beings could treat a desperate battle like just another day at work. The galaxy was right to be afraid of humans, just not for the reasons they thought. The Tenacious cut through the machine swarm like a ship sailing through a storm of metal and death. Captain Taeho watched from his command center as the human vessel did things that should have been impossible. Status report. Daun's voice came through the communication link. She sounded calm, almost bored. Captain, we're seeing massive confusion in the machine ranks, reported Minho. They keep trying to adapt to our weapons, but we're not using weapons. Good. Keep them guessing. Yejin, how are our systems? Running smooth as silk, Captain. Hull damage is minimal. Whatever these machines were designed to fight, it wasn't mining equipment. Taeho watched in amazement as the human ship grabbed another group of machines with its mining arms and fed them into its processing systems. Captain Da-un, how are you doing this? Our military experts said the machines were unstoppable once they adapted. That's because your military experts think like military experts, Da-un replied. They see a problem and try to solve it with bigger guns. We see a problem and figure out how to turn it into spare parts. On the tactical display, Tae-ho could see the machine swarm reorganizing. The creatures were trying to form new attack patterns, but the humans kept changing their approach. Instead of fighting the same way twice, they treated each encounter like a different industrial problem. Seok-jin, Da-un called to her pilot. Swing us around that big cluster there. I want to see what they're guarding. The Tenacious banked left, dodging between massive machines the size of buildings. Seok-jin flew the ship like he was navigating an asteroid field, using the thrusters to slide between enemies that should have been able to destroy them. How is your pilot so skilled? So-young asked. Asteroid mining. Seok-jin's voice came through the speakers. You learn to fly fast when chunks of rock are trying to kill you every day. These machines are actually easier to dodge than space debris. They move in predictable patterns. Contact! Minho called out. Big one coming up from below. Looks like a command unit. Through the view screen, Tae-ho saw a machine unlike the others. This one was the size of a small ship, covered in sensor arrays and communication equipment. It was clearly directing the other machines. That's their coordinator, Ye-jin observed. Take that out, and the rest should lose organization. Can't just blow it up, Da-un mused. Need to study it first. Minho, prep a capture charge. A what? Tae-ho asked. Mining tool, Minho explained. We use them to grab loose asteroids. Should work on oversized robots, too. The Tenacious fired what looked like a harpoon connected to a cable. It struck the command machine and immediately began pulling it toward the ship. The machine fought back, but the mining winch was designed to handle asteroids weighing millions of tons. Got it, Minho announced, bringing it into Bay 3. Wait, Tae-ho said urgently. You're bringing an active enemy machine into your ship? Standard salvage procedure, Ye-jin replied. Don't worry, we've got containment protocols. Through the ship's internal cameras, Tae-ho watched as the command machine was dragged into a cargo bay. The moment it was inside, the bay filled with some kind of foam that hardened instantly around the machine. Industrial containment foam, Ye-jin explained. We use it to stabilize damaged equipment. Works great on hostile machines, too. Da-un's voice came through the speakers. Bora, you're up. Time for surgery. Tae-ho watched in fascination as the human medic approached the trapped machine with what looked like medical tools, but instead of treating it, she began carefully dismantling it. I know this seems strange, Bora said, noticing the Villani watching, but I'm trained in both human and machine anatomy. Taking apart a hostile machine isn't that different from performing surgery. You just need to know where to cut. She's finding their command protocols, Da-un explained. Every machine needs instructions. If we can figure out how they communicate, we can disrupt their coordination. Bora worked with surgical precision, removing components and studying them. Captain, I've found their communication array. It's using quantum entanglement for instantaneous coordination across the swarm. Can you jam it? Better than that. I can reprogram it. Tae-ho felt his hope growing. You can control the machines? Not control, Bora corrected. But I can give them conflicting orders, make them fight each other instead of us. While Bora worked on the captured machine, the Tenacious continued moving through the swarm. But now Tae-ho began to notice something strange. The humans weren't just fighting randomly, they were hurting the machines. Seok-jin, Da-un called. Start pushing them toward the gravity well. I want them all in one place. Aye, Captain. Using the debris fields to channel their movement. Tae-ho realized what he was seeing. The humans had been creating debris clouds, not just to confuse the machines, but to control their movement. They were using the machines' own adaptive behavior against them. This is remarkable, he said. You're treating them like livestock. Same principle, Da-un agreed. You want to move a herd of animals, you don't fight them directly. You make it easier for them to go where you want than to go anywhere else. Captain, Minho reported, we've got about 80% of the swarm concentrated in the target zone. Good. Bora, how's our patient? Just finished the programming. Ready to transmit new orders. Do it. On the tactical display, Tae-ho watched something impossible happen. The machines suddenly stopped attacking the Tenacious. Instead, they began attacking each other. Conflicting priority signals, Bora explained. I told half of them that the other half are hostile invaders. Their programming won't let them ignore a direct threat, so they're fighting each other instead of us. The machine's swarm descended into chaos. Creatures that had worked together for days were now tearing each other apart. The humans watched calmly as their enemies destroyed themselves. That's not fair, Tae-ho said quietly. No, it's not, Da-un agreed. Fair would be letting them finish killing your people while we followed civilized rules of engagement. This is war, Captain. The only fair fight is the one you win. As the machines battled each other, the Tenacious moved deeper into the swarm. They were heading for something Tai-ho hadn't noticed before, a massive structure near the system's outer planets. That's where they came from, Sok-jin reported. Big manufacturing facility. Looks like they built it from pieces of your moon. Through the view screen, Tae-ho could see a nightmare construction. The machines had torn apart the Villani's mining moon and used the materials to build a factory. It was producing new machines every few minutes. That's the source, Da-un said. Take out the factory and no more machines. How do we destroy something that large? Tae-ho asked. We don't destroy it, Ye-jin said with a grin. We reprogram it. You can do that? Captain, Min-ho called out. I'm reading massive power fluctuations from the factory. Looks like it's trying to override Bora's programming. Expected, Da-un replied calmly. Time for Plan B. Ye-jin, prep the demolition charges. Wait, Tae-ho said. You have demolition charges? I thought you only had mining equipment. Same thing, Min-ho explained cheerfully. Mining charges, demolition charges, asteroid crackers, they all go boom. The Tenacious approached the factory, while the machine swarm continued fighting itself. The humans worked with calm efficiency, placing explosives at key structural points. This is insane, So-young whispered. They're flying into the heart of enemy territory like it's just another day at work. For them, it probably is, Tae-ho replied. He was beginning to understand something about humans. They didn't see impossible odds. They just saw problems that needed solving. Charges placed, Min-ho reported. Factory will be gone in 30 seconds. What about the remaining machines? Tae-ho asked. Without the factory, they can't reproduce, Bora explained. And with conflicting orders, they'll eventually destroy each other. Any survivors will shut down when they run out of power. The factory exploded in a brilliant flash of light. The machines throughout the system suddenly stopped fighting and began shutting down one by one. That's it, Da-un announced. Problem solved. Tae-ho stared at the tactical display. In less than 12 hours, the humans had done what the entire galaxy said was impossible. They had defeated self-replicating machines using nothing but mining, equipment, and creative thinking. How? He asked quietly. Same way we solve any problem, Da-un replied. We figured out what needed to be done and we did it. For the first time in days, Tae-ho's world was quiet. The machines were gone. His people were safe. And he was beginning to understand why the galaxy feared Deathworlders. It wasn't because they were violent. It was because they never gave up. 3 days after the last machine had shut down, Captain Tae-ho stood in the cargo bay of the Tenacious. Around him, humans and Villani worked together to repair the damage to his world. It was not what he had expected from first contact with Deathworlders. Hand me that crystal resonator, called Ye-jin from underneath a piece of Villani equipment. She was trying to repair one of their communication arrays using human tools and Villani technology. The small blue one, or the large blue. One? Asked Jae-sung, a young Villani engineer who had volunteered to help. The one that hums when you touch it. Tae-ho watched in amazement as the human engineer worked alongside his people. Yesterday, Ye-jin had been dismantling enemy machines with surgical precision. Today, she was carefully rebuilding Villani art installations with the same focused attention. Captain Tae-ho, called Da-un from across the cargo bay. She was sitting at a folding table sharing what looked like military rations with Min-ho and Seok-jin. Want to join us for lunch? Tae-ho approached the table hesitantly. The humans were laughing about something, completely relaxed, despite being surrounded by aliens they had never met before. What are you discussing? He asked. Minho was telling us about the time he accidentally blew up an asteroid that turned out to be someone's pet, Daun explained. Apparently the owner was not happy. It was a misunderstanding, Minho protested. How was I supposed to know that rock was somebody's pet? It didn't have a collar or anything. Seokjin grinned. You didn't think to scan it first? I did scan it. It showed up as a big chunk of metal and rock, which is what asteroids usually are. They continued joking while they ate. Taeho found himself staring at them. These were the same humans who had destroyed an unstoppable machine army just days ago. Now they were making jokes about pets. Captain Daun, he said quietly, may I ask you something? Sure. What's on your mind? Why did you come? Really? Your government could have ignored our signal like everyone else did. Why risk your lives for strangers? Daun stopped eating and looked at him seriously. Because you asked for help. That's all? That's everything. Look, Captain, we know what the galaxy thinks of us. Dangerous Deathworlders who fight too much and cause trouble. Maybe they're right. But when someone is in trouble and needs help, we help them. It's what we do. So Young approached the table, carrying a data pad. Captain Daun, I've been analyzing the battle data. I need to understand something. Your tactics made no sense from a military perspective. You treated combat like industrial work. Because that's what it was, Daun replied. We had a problem that needed solving. A bunch of broken machines were hurting innocent people, so we fixed the problem. But the machines were adapting to weapons. Military experts said they were unstoppable. Minho laughed. Military experts think like military experts. They see an enemy and try to destroy it with bigger guns. We see malfunctioning equipment and figure out how to repair or recycle it. I still don't understand. So Young said, how did you know your approach would work? We didn't, Seokjin admitted. But we had to try something. Sitting around debating whether it was possible wasn't going to save anyone. Taeho studied their faces. You weren't certain you could win? Never are, Daun said simply. But uncertainty never stopped us before. You do what you can with what you have, and you figure out the rest as you go. Bora approached from the medical station where she had been treating injured Vellani. Captain, I finished the medical scans. The good news is that most of the injuries are repairable. The bad news is that Vellani biology is more fragile than we thought. How fragile? Taeho asked, concerned. Your crystalline structure makes you beautiful but vulnerable. A human could accidentally hurt you just by shaking hands too firmly. Bora sat down at the table. But don't worry, I've prepared medical protocols for future human-Vellani interactions. Future interactions? Taeho asked. Daun nodded. If you want them. We know most species prefer to avoid contact with humans. But if you ever need help again, just call. The galaxy will not be happy about this, So Young said quietly. When word spreads that humans intervene successfully where others refuse to act, let them be unhappy, Minho said with a shrug. We're not trying to make friends with the galaxy. We're trying to help people who need help. Taeho looked around the cargo bay. Humans and Vellani were working together, sharing tools and knowledge. His people were teaching the humans about crystal resonance technology. The humans were showing the Vellani how to repair equipment using improvised tools. You are not what we expected, he said finally. What did you expect? Daeun asked. Monsters. The galaxy tells stories about Deathworlders, violent, dangerous, unpredictable. They say humans are the most dangerous species in known space. Maybe we are, Daeun admitted. But dangerous to who? We're dangerous to anyone who threatens innocent people. We're dangerous to anyone who thinks problems can't be solved. We're dangerous to anyone who gives up when things get difficult. But not to us. Captain, you called for help. You were facing extinction and fighting to save your people. Why would we hurt you? Ye Jin looked up from her repair work. Captain Taeho, can I ask you something? What will you tell other species about humans? Taeho thought carefully. I will tell them the truth, that humans are indeed dangerous, but I will also tell them that when we needed help and the civilized galaxy abandoned us, the Deathworlders came. And? Daeun prompted. And they saved us all. Later that day, Taeho stood with Daun on the tenacious bridge as they prepared to leave. The human ship was loaded with gifts from the Vallani. Crystal art pieces, music recordings, and technological samples. "These are beautiful," Daun said, holding a small crystal sculpture that sang when touched. "But we can't accept payment for helping you." "It is not payment," Taeho corrected. "It is friendship. Your people saved ours. The least we can do is share our culture with you." "In that case, thank you. We'll treasure these." So Young approached with a data pad. "Captain Dayun, I've prepared a message to send across the galaxy. With your permission, I would like to tell other species what happened here." "What will you say?" "The truth. That when we faced extinction and civilized species refused to help, humans came. Yes, they are dangerous. Yes, they are unpredictable. But when innocent people need help, humans provide it." Daun nodded approval. "Send it." As the Tenacious prepared to depart, Tai-Ho received a final message from Earth. Admiral J. Mean appeared on his screen. "Captain Tai-Ho, I hope our people were able to help." "More than help, Admiral. They saved us. Is there anything we can do to repay this kindness?" "Actually, there is. We've been receiving distress signals from other species in your region of space. If you hear of anyone who needs help, you want us to forward their calls to you? We want you to let them know that humans answer when people call for help, no matter how impossible the situation seems." Taeho smiled. The first real smile he had felt in weeks. "I understand, Admiral. We will spread the word." After the Tenacious departed, Taeho stood in his rebuilt command center. So Young was at her communication station, monitoring galactic frequencies. "Sir, we're receiving responses to our message about the humans." "What kind of responses?" "Mixed. Some species are frightened. They think humans will become aggressive now that they've shown their capabilities. Others are curious. They want to know more about a species that helps strangers." "And the others?" So Young smiled. 3 more distress calls have come in. Species facing impossible situations, asking specifically for human help." Taeho looked out at his recovering world. Crystal spires were growing again. His people were singing again. Children were playing in gardens that had been battlefields just days ago. So Young, forward those distress calls to Earth and include a message from us. What should I tell them? Tell them that humans keep their promises. When they say they will help, they help. When they say they will come, they come. And when the impossible needs to be done, they find a way to do it. As the message transmitted across space, Taeho thought about the galaxy's reaction. Some species would remain afraid of humans, others would be curious. But those who truly needed help would know where to call. The Deathworlders had shown their true nature. Not as monsters, but as the ones who answered when everyone else had given up. And across the galaxy, that message was spreading one distress call at a time.